Hi there, I'm Zoot Java. Today I'd like to talk about COVID-19 and a comparison to the flu. As far as number of cases, COVID-19 isn't even in the same ballpark as the flu. It's hard to say how many people get the flu every year, but the World Health Organization has an estimate of approximately 800 million, or roughly 10% of the population. When you initially look at it, we shouldn't even bother with the coronavirus. Why? Well, because the infections and fatalities from the flu are much higher than the coronavirus. The key difference would be that influenza is a constant seasonal disease affecting so many people. So let's just see a comparison of it to the coronavirus in other ways. Every epidemic has a basic reproduction number, or expected number of cases, directly generated by one case. Or in other words, in a population that is susceptible to the infection, one infected person and the amount that they will spread to a disease to a certain number of other people. The higher this number is, the more contagious the disease is. So the ratio can vary in different populations as an average. The average value of the coronavirus is not very well known, with it being an active outbreak right now. Most estimates have it at 2 to 3.4%, while the flu is 1.3%. While this doesn't seem like much of a difference, compounding it over a large population has it growing on a rather excessive scale. So far, then, the coronavirus seems to be more contagious than the flu. The big problem arises when we look at the fatality rates. The reason the flu kills so many people is because it infects so many people in the first place. If there was a comparable number of cases, then it would be more than likely causing the fatalities by the coronavirus. This is what the attention to the coronavirus is all about. It's essentially a super flu, if you will. More potent than the flu, but we also don't really know that much about it either. Take, for example, the summer months. For the flu, we have a vaccine, we have treatment, and it's gone in the summer. Coronavirus, on the other hand, has a vaccine, but it's just being rolled out, and few have had access to it so far. Treatment seems to be hit and miss at best, and we really aren't sure if it will also be gone in the summer, because the coronavirus is so new and very poorly understood that the officials are wary of it and are mishandling almost everything to do with it. Whereas the flu has had a vaccine for years now, and even though the vaccine rates are behind, it is there and can be ready for vulnerable, at-risk, if you will, populations. There are also treatments for many cases, explaining why the flu fatality is much lower. The flu is also gone in the summer, where it appears that the COVID-19 won't be, as it has spread in tropical weather countries. My take on this? Well, basically we've got a possible super flu on our hands that will never go away, and will be circulating in the same fashion as the flu. The governments, for the most part, have proven themselves to be completely inept at their lack of handling this situation properly. The governments, for the most part, have only shown that the one consistent thing that they have been able to prove here is that they are not to be trusted with dealing properly in these type of situations. They have shown, for instance, in Canada, that they have absolutely no regard for the average Canadian. They have, from the beginning, bent over backwards for the privileged, i.e. the rich and or powerful, or both, by not doing anything to upset this ruling class. Let's begin by Prime Minister Trudeau allowing the Canadian soldiers to come back from the games in China, with a third of them excessively ill, and refusing to have them checked to see what was wrong with them, because he allegedly didn't want to upset the Chinese government, who, we all know, don't like to be upset. These soldiers came back to Canada and sent all over the country to possibly have sparked initial infections amongst the entire population. Also, he didn't stop the planes from continuing to return from China when it was obviously the epicenter of this virus. All of the air travel in this country should be canceled, even if it's only within the country. Canada is massive, and it only takes one person to fly from one side of the country to the other who is infected to get off that plane and infect the entire population of the other side of the country, or to pick it up and bring it back to where they first started their journey. In this fashion, when the virus could possibly have burned itself out, the circulation of flights could cause the virus to perpetually infect the entire country. There are people who are flying from Ontario out to British Columbia to go skiing. The air travel to anywhere must be cancelled. All airports must be shut down. Everyone should realize the availability of air travel is a problem that our society with infectious diseases has. Will the government have the chutzpah to cancel air travel for good? You had no problem shutting down everybody else's businesses, putting them out of businesses, ruining their lives. So, no, not in your life. They haven't got it. The politicians are cowards. Heaven forbid that people are inconvenienced by not having a plane to jump on and go wherever they want. Well, screw them. Do you want to add up just how many people have been inconvenienced by losing their livelihoods with the mishandling of the shutdowns of small businesses, bankruptcies faced by people who were doing fine until selfish people continue to drag in who knows how many infectious diseases through the air travel? Suicide rates that have mysteriously tripled by people who have had so many problems weighing down on them as a result of this virus from a government who doesn't care about them. Yet you can find people with a lot of money breaking all sorts of mandates and regulations which are heavy-handedly imposed on an average person throughout, with the threats and fines from police forces which people are vastly losing their respect for. Politicians traveling all over the place, attending large events of crowds of people without masks, all with the flimsiest of excuses as to why they are breaking the rules, and should be allowed to. But not you. You're nothing. Nobody. Shut up. Lock yourself in. Wear a mask. We'll fine you. Threaten you. What's next? Hitler had Jewish people sew a star on their clothing. Our government doesn't need to do that. They're tracking all our movements through our phones. Isn't that right, Premier of Ontario Doug Ford? You said it was already being done with infected people, but the information was anonymized. Oh, in that case, everybody can sleep well. I feel perfectly fine with you anonymizing this information, and I'm sure it's being done. Wink. If you won't abolish all air travel to anywhere and from anywhere, you are not just complicit with the spread of this virus and any others, but you are guilty in ruining this country, killing tens of thousands of people, and the ruination of countless lives through an economic death. There is no excuse whatsoever not to do this because, and I'm quoting countless politicians here, if it just saves one life, then all these sacrifices are worth it. Well, put up and or shut up. Close the airports. Do it now. You had millions of dollars to bail them out for what they were doing. Give it to the people who deserve it, the small business people who don't have a chance any longer. Well, now for what you've all been waiting for. My bad joke. Alright. If you have to break up with somebody, the best place to do it is at McDonald's. There's no plates or glasses to break over your head. No sharp knives or spiky forks to stab you with, and they can't flip over a table either. Anyways, please like and subscribe, as it really helps me out, and with the treatment that all the conservative creators like myself have been getting from the platform, it annoys them greatly as the numbers that they are suppressing and deleting get added over again. So please add me. Hit the bell for notifications of more of my words of wisdom, and share my content on all your social media platforms, because it too annoys all the usual suspects. Until later, have a Java on Zoot.